I want money. I want money.
Welcome to the Alfresco night slide, where 16 of the world's best wakeboarders will be hitting the ramps and sliding the rails around the cable water ski park. If that doesn't sound crazy enough for you, the riders will be competing in near darkness, with only a spotlight to pick out the obstacles. But first, let's find out a little more about the sport. As opposed to regular water skiing or wakeboarding performed behind a boat, cable wakeboarding is where the rider is towed around the lake on a system of wires and pulleys similar to that of a ski lift. This particular circuit is designed like a skate park, with obstacles, ramps and sliders for the riders to hit, performing slides, spins and flips to impress the judges. So what exactly is the format of the competition? There are 13 riders in the qualifying stage, and they all get to compete one circuit of the course with 6 obstacles to hit and no falls allowed. Once everyone has been out, they'll repeat the process and take an average of the 2 rounds. The judges, who are watching from a floating platform out in the middle of the lake, are looking for a well-composed run, which includes long slides, technical tricks and the biggest air. The top 10 riders will progress to the final, which takes place later in the evening once the sun has set and the conditions get a little more extreme. The course begins on the flat bar, which is a small rail to get the riders warmed up. You may see some spins along the surface, but the main objective is to slide the entire length. The water ski jump provides the base of the second obstacle, with pipes added to the surface to create a 3-stage slider, which is named after the wakeboarding legend Mark Kenny, who passed away in 2002. The Dragon is the longest slider in the course, with a variety of angles. Only the best riders will complete the full length and get a chance to perform a trick off the ramp section at the far end. The curved pipe ramp, called a berm, is probably the hardest obstacle to hit consistently. Simply choosing the right angle of attack is the biggest challenge here. As the riders pass the start jetty, they must decide which ramp they want to hit next, and the choice of left or right kicker is dependent on which trick they wish to attempt. There's another choice at the end of the circuit, where on the left the beetle slider provides an element of danger, as the riders must clear all 3 sections over the car to score well with the judges. On the right you'll find the gap jump, which is a small kicker followed by a rail. The aim here is to use the ramp to clear the gap, landing on the rail and slide to the end of the course.
First rider out in the water in qualifying is Jonty Green. Nice little tick-tock off the end of the flat bar. Doesn't quite hit all 3 sections on the Kenny slider. Lining himself up for the Dragon. Slides all the way to the end with a backside 270 off the end. Very sweet. Doesn't make it to the end of the berm. John's now coming in for the kicker. Big strong edge. Floats out a massive off-axis backside 3. Sinks into the water there, but luckily gets pulled out by the upward pull of the cable. Next rider out in the water, it's Dan Knott. Known for his skills on the boat, he's the national champion. Now he's out hitting some kickers and sliders. Doesn't make it to the end of the Dragon though. The judges want to see the riders slide the full length. That's going to give them maximum points. Big hit left on the kicker. What's he got? Super late backside 3. Lands nice and clean, gives himself plenty of time to get over for the beetle. Gets the full length from the beetle. Good riding from Dan. Next off the dock, it's Jack Wayne. Let's see what he's got for us out on the water. Jack got lots of style, very at home on the cable. We should see some good riding from Jack here. Starts off on the flat bar, coming up to the Kenny slider, gets all 3 sections. He'll score well for that. Onto the Dragon, all the way to the end with a backside 3 off the end. Super clean landing. Jack misses out the berm. Looks like he's saving himself for the kicker. Busts out a huge whirly bird. That's a backflip with a full 360. Gaps the beetle with a backside 270 off the end. Now you see Jack getting technical off the kicker. The judges are going to love that. Superb riding from Jack. Next rider out in qualifying, it's Sam Khan. Starts off with a nice easy slide on the flat bar. Needs to step it up a little bit. Coming into the Dragon now. Front side. He could have done with a trick off the end of the slider just to impress those judges a little more. Nice 540 off the kicker. Lands clean enough to get to the beetle, but doesn't really do the beetle justice. Next on the water, it's Ant Collins. Hits all 3 sections of the Kenny slider. Unfortunately, doesn't make it that far along the Dragon. Lines himself up for the berm. Ant takes a backside 360 off the end of the berm with a late method grab. Ant's getting it together at the last part of this run. Looks like he's cutting in late for the kicker. Pops up a big Indy glide. He grabs the ball while it's inverted above his head. Looks like he's taking the gap slider. Luckily for Ant, he doesn't land on the slider. I think that could have been painful. Here we see in slow-mo, Ant's all the way along the berm. That little late grab on that 360. Really nice ride. Next rider up, Matt Crowhurst. Starting off his run with an air stiffy. Luckily for Matt, the judges aren't scoring air tricks. Let's see what he's got on the sliders. Starts off with a really sweet slide on the flat bar, and he gapped the Kenny slider there. He missed out the middle section, took off the first section and landed on the downside. Let's see what he's got on the berm. Nearly makes it to the end with a little 180 off the end. Gets around the corner. Matt decides to take the left hand kicker on this one. Does a really sweet nose grab hoochie. Matt's going to hit the gap, lands on it, but he had his weight too far back and unfortunately doesn't ride the trick out.
Alongside the wakeboarding, there are 3 marquees with top DJs providing the soundtrack to the competition. Seb Fontaine, Danny Rampling and the event organiser Pete Walsh are just some of the names behind the decks. So whilst the riders prepare for the second round of qualifying, let's soak up some of the atmosphere.
The state of wakeboarding is silly. Like, the talent is uncontrollable. They're just pushing the limits left, right and centre. I mean I'm riding a lot, but there's a lot of guys out there who are super young, like 20 and below, who are just like the best of Europe. I mean, Britain won the team gold at the Europeans. We're going to go to the Worlds in October. If we just had the better climate, if a few of the riders over here got to a better climate over the winter and just rode solid, then yeah, we could take on the world.